A quick introduction. My name's Simon Eappariello. I'm the SVP for EMEA region. I've been at iboss for over 10 years and seen a lot of consolidation in the industry, and that's certainly where iboss play, helping organizations modernize their security and use new security techniques in line with things like zero trust projects and initiatives. So that's kind of where we fit. That's where we fit in. We've been doing this for a long time. The company's over 16 years old now. So we started off in the secure web gateway quadrant and the security domain, and now we've expanded our security capabilities to cover a lot of areas. So I'll cover all these areas and areas where we can really help organizations modernize. So first of all, we see some challenges out there that I think all enterprises, companies are challenged with today. Certainly increasing complexity, where we've been building up our security stack, where perhaps if we go back 20 years, we had firewalls and they were doing most of the functionality for us. But then we needed other tools for visibility, for control, to stop malware, to stop phishing threats, to control data sovereignty, data loss. So we've been building up these security capabilities, but that's definitely led to increased complexity, as well as governance and compliance. I think whatever vertical you're working in, whether it's government, finance, healthcare, we're all under increasing regulative controls, and we're expected to know where our data resides, if there's any kind of issues, and putting good things like threat prevention as well to protect our customers' data. We've definitely seen an escalation in risks. The more recent one, of course, is AI. AI is good, of course. We use it in our company and in our product, but it has brought a new attack vector. So companies want to use AI, but they want to use it in an ethical way, and they want to use it in a safe way. And of course, the bad actors out there are using AI to create new types of attacks and threats. And one of the things that we've seen, of course, is an escalation in SaaS applications out there that are being built with AI as well. So these applications, are applications that we've never seen before. We don't know if there's any threat around using them or storing data there. And of course, cost pressures. I think no matter what vertical we're in, we're all driven now to reduce costs, and consolidation is one of the ways of doing that, reducing the number of vendors that we use. So iboss are providing, to meet these challenges, a unified platform. One of the things around SASE is really consolidation. So rather than using a lot of different point solutions, it's really about consolidating some of these legacy technologies that we've been using into a single platform. And by doing that, it makes things less complex. And just by doing that, we reduce risk, because looking after multiple systems is hard, and complexity can breed risk. So we cover everything. If any of you have seen the SASE wheel that Gartner produced 5 or 6 years ago, when they termed SASE, and the other one is Secure Service Edge, which focuses on the security side. You'll know it covers a lot of security areas: proxy, DNS security, data loss prevention, CASB, VPN, remote user access. There's a lot, and we cover all of these areas, and I'll dive into each one. So web something, web security is something that iboss have been doing for many years. We have over 100 categories to classify web traffic. We have cloud source malware defense from many vendors, including phishing, command and control feeds, to really, help the security team control where our users are going to, and just stop them from going to anywhere bad, from either phishing links or just misuse of the internet. So we've been doing that for a long time. The new thing, of course, is AI. So Gen AI, of course, is out there on the internet. We want to have some visibility into that, some control, and that's been in our platform now for a few years. Network DLP, again, something that is part of SASE, very important piece. I think we're all concerned about things around, what is leaving our network, what's leaving our endpoints, where is our data, and to have some control and visibility around that. So it's embedded in our platform. Cloud Access Security Broker, CASB, it's a technology that's been around for a long time. It gives us visibility about what applications our users are using, either inside our network or on the public internet. So I think we're all using some kind of SaaS application today. Some organizations have gone completely cloud, of course, and they only use SaaS applications. So CASB gives us visibility, shows us any shadow IT use, but also gives us good control around how we're using those SaaS applications as well. I'm going to drill into this, but we're now using AI to give us enhanced visibility in real time. So where we're seeing new applications that are perhaps built with AI that nobody's ever seen before, we're using AI to give us some risk classification around that application and the data as well. So I'll dig into that. ZTNA, I think, is a very popular subject. The VPN has been used 20 years, maybe more, and it's done a good job at providing a method for remote users to access information and services on a private network. But it has been around a long time. It's probably definitely the main conduit for threats, things like ransomware getting into our network, and there's now a better way. So using ZTNA employs zero trust principles and extra controls around controlling access and monitoring access for remote users. Something that can enhance that is browser isolation. Browser isolation is a way of really separating the user from the services and the data that they might need to access or view. It can be used in combination with ZTNA to gain access to private resources, or it can be used for public SaaS resources as well. But it's really used, it's a great use cases for people like contractors, BYOD devices, and controlling access to like very highly confidential systems and data. And then, probably over a year ago now, we also added SD-WAN into our platform. This is a connectivity method, of course, that we're probably all fairly aware of now. But this is Zero Trust SD-WAN. It's embedded in our platform. The security is embedded into the connectivity. So our platform can now connect your locations together in a secure way. So let's take a quick look at these. And real quickly, all of the technology that I'm about to talk about is iboss technology. It's all built out of the US. It's where all our dev teams are. It is cloud first, but we do support on-premise. We support hybrid deployments. Definitely, I think, especially in your region, especially if you're working with government, or maybe it's financial and you've got your own data center, you may want us to be in your own data center or located in your sovereign region within your country's boundaries. So we can facilitate that, but we do have our own cloud. We have our own points of presence as well, if you want to do full cloud. We do use AI both as a company internally, but we use it in our products as well. We're using it to help the security team and bring threats to the forefront and increase visibility around any kind of threat or data loss event. So let's dig into each one of these areas. We'll start with ZTNA, the VPN replacement. And I start here because often if people are looking at modernization or you're going on that zero trust journey, because zero trust isn't a product as such, it's really a set of principles. It's the way you architect your network, and you'll use products like ours to create that architecture. And many organizations have got some form of zero trust architecture already. But the VPN is a good place to start because it's fairly easy to replace, and you get a lot of risk reduction just from doing this one thing. So the problem with VPN is you're really connecting these remote users to your network, or your network to the location where those remote users are. And there's a lot of risk around that. You know, is that user who they say they are? Is their device in a good state? Is it in a good security posture? And where are they? What kind of network are they on? Is it a compromised network? Maybe they're in an airport and someone's running their own access point, or a coffee shop. So we definitely see, you know, a lot of the threats that probably hit the news, especially things around ransomware. The VPN's been the chief conduit. And, you know, a lot of times we'll give contractors or people with their own device VPN access. We've just got no idea, you know, really who that user is. It's hard to guarantee their identity. We don't know where they are. We don't know what device they're using. So ZTNA will help with this challenge and lower the risk around remote user access. So we use, you know, modern techniques to identify users. So we integrate with modern authentication, IDPs, things like SAML, any kind of SAML provider, but Okta, Ping, Microsoft, the calls, Microsoft Entra, or if you're still running AD, we can integrate with that as well. We'll also do things like posture checks. Are they using MFA? What country are they in? What time of day is it? What's the state of their endpoint? Do they have disk encryption enabled? Are they running AV? There's multiple kind of gates that you can set before you allow the user to connect. And then when they do connect, rather than, you know, like a VPN, allowing that user into the network, where even if you use segmentation, you've got this problem about lateral movement. And once they're in the network, and if there's something bad on their endpoint, it can get into the network and then it can do reconnaissance and do lateral movement. The idea of ZTNA is least privilege access, right? So when you set up your ZTNA policies, you only allow access to the systems that user's identity should have access to. And not only that, we're going to broker that connection for our clouds. They're going to go to our cloud first. We're going to do all of the posture checks. We're going to do all the checks. And then every single time they connect, we're going to rerun those checks before they access that application. So it's almost like streaming the application to the end user without letting them directly onto the network. If we do see any threats, we can take immediate dynamic action to contain that threat, quarantine that device, block that device, and of course send real-time email alerts. So ZTNA is a great place to start. There's still a lot of legacy VPNs out there. It's very easy and quick to replace, and you can really lower your risk profile. I probably covered all these. I've skipped ahead in my slides a little bit, but certainly from a user experience and visibility perspective, the user experience is seamless. It's effectively always on, but we know when they're accessing a private resource because our cloud does the routing. We know where those private resources are, whether it's network-based or application-based, and all of the information goes to our cloud, and then we'll just route it in the right way. So as far as the user's concerned, there's no turning on and off VPNs. all the traffic goes to our cloud anyway, and we'll just connect them to the service. From a visibility point of view, we really treat a private resource and a public resource the same way. We run the same checks, the malware, the DLP, and we audit everything in our logs. So every time they access an internal resource, it's going to go into our audit logs, just like it would if they were accessing an internet resource or a public SaaS resource. You get a lot more visibility. Okay, just in the interest of time, I'll go through this quite quick. So let me talk about CASB. So you know we can enable remote user access. Remote users can access the internet securely as well. Users inside the office, we don't treat them any differently, right? Everybody goes to our cloud. Everybody gets the same security posture wherever they are on any device. Now, if you imagine us as the security edge or your security stack in the cloud, right? It doesn't matter where your users are, they're all going to go through the same security edge. CASB is now giving you the ability and extra visibility about any kind of access to any kind of internal resource or public resource, internet resource, public SaaS resource. And the way vendors used to do this around, you know, is this a good resource to access? Is they used to build up catalogs of applications. And there's always been a lot. There's tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. But that number of applications is growing exponentially because of AI. We now have this concept of zero-day applications because people are using AI to build applications. And, you know, you can't catalog them. You can't keep up, you know, risk scoring every single app. So we've used AI and we've developed AI-powered CASB to do this in real time. So we use AI, we use a lot of indicators, we go out, we look at the app, we look at the history around the app, we look at things like who is information, how long's this app been on the internet for, how long's the domain been there for, what country is it located in, has there been any risk reports? There's a lot of information we can gather, and we do something called dual risk scoring. We give her a risk score around that, you know, is this app safe to use in general? And then we give her another score about, you know, is it safe to store data there? Perhaps, you know, the application is a popular application, but perhaps they've had some security incidents in the past, and that will affect the data risk score. So this is real time. It will discover any new application, and it will give you a lot of visibility into what applications your users are using. It will highlight any kind of shadow IT use. Is someone using Dropbox when they should be using the company SharePoint tenant and things like that? Okay, we'll move on to DLP. Definitely in highly regulated organizations dealing with customer data, employee data, perhaps they've got their own highly confidential information. DLP is a great tool around controlling data movement. So we are what's known as an inline DLP. We look at data movement going for our security edge as it happens. We have inbuilt patterns to look for things like personal identifiable information, credit card information, but you can build your own. You can build your own patterns to look for, perhaps you have your own, you know, customer naming scheme. Perhaps if you're in FSI, you know, you have your own customer numbers, account numbers, but you can pretty much, it's a very flexible engine. We use this in very large financial institutions. It has advanced features like exact data match, document label integration with things like Bold and James and Microsoft's MIP as well for document labeling. Okay, so the web and AI protection. I think we've all been doing some kind of web filtering for a long time. Malware defense and phishing defense is an important part of that. Also, what comes into play here is monitoring for any kind of command and control signals, but not just monitoring web traffic, but also monitoring DNS traffic as well. All of this happens on our platform. And again, getting back to the new threat vector, which is Gen AI, we've now got this new internet traffic as well. And we want to use it. We want to stay competitive as an organization. We want to use AI. But we want to foster safe usage of it, and we want to monitor it. How are our employees using it? And also, if they upload anything to a Gen AI engine, is it safe? And does it contain any confidential information? So our platform will audit the full conversation. It will do malware and DLP protection as well. Those engines are built into our platform again. Everything happens in a single security edge. We decrypt everything, we analyze it, malware, DLP, and we'll audit everything, including the actual AI conversation. So you can actually see what your users are asking Gen AI. You can control what AI engines they're using, and you can protect against data loss, because if they upload any kind of file, PDF, Word document, spreadsheet, we'll actually decrypt that and look at the content and make sure there's nothing confidential in there that's going to these large language models. As a few of the engines, we're adding on this all the time. We actually started off with ChatGPT 18 months ago or so. It was definitely at the time the most popular, but of course we've seen many others that companies want to use, and we're adding to this all of the time. Okay, real quick, browser isolation. Think of it as a sandbox. People talk about enterprise browsers and browser isolation, really achieving the same thing. The difference is with enterprise browsers, of course, you've got to push them out. Everybody's got to install them. They have compatibility issues. Browser isolation, there is no agent to push out. It's very useful for contractors, unmanaged devices. It uses pixel rendering. So we give anybody going for an isolated session really a picture of the page they're trying to look at. They can still enter text, they can still move the mouse, they can upload, download, but only if you allow them to. You have full control of the session. Everything's audited. And it's a great way of reducing risk for any kind of contractors, unmanaged devices. And this also works with ZTNA. So it can also give these remote users access to internal resources. So you can use this anywhere. So it's a great way of reducing risk. Okay, last bit, SD-WAN. We've been doing this for a couple of years. So, everything I've spoken about so far is really in the cybersecurity domain, securing information, data, and users. SD-WAN is a connectivity method. The difference with our SD-WAN is it's ingrained in our platform. So we connect sites together securely. And we can either do that purely from the cloud, or we can do it with hardware. We have different form factors for the hardware. For small branch offices, that SE170 is just a small like modem size device, 1U, 4U, depends on the size of the site, how much throughput you need. But this is ingrained in our platform, and it will enable you to connect your offices together in a secure fashion with full auditing as well. And it's very cost effective because it's built into our platform. It's not a separate solution, because we've definitely seen in this area vendors doing things like bandwidth surcharging if it goes through their cloud, where your bills can change every month. But this is fixed price, monthly pricing, includes the hardware, or you can do it in the cloud, and very easy to configure as well. It's all API driven. You just do it from our central console. So these are our pillars. I'll just skip on in the interest of time. Just got a few minutes left. These are our pillars: advanced threat protection, malware, phishing, content analysis, DLP. All of these things fit together. It's a very intuitive cloud-based administration console where we've brought many technologies together, and you can orchestrate them, view them, and administrate them all in one place.
Thank you, Simon. Perfect timing. We have a couple of questions, interesting questions, and hoping you can answer them without getting into half an hour discussion.
I'll try.
Let's try that. So again, a very good question about, as we started, replacing VPN. So the question is, what's the cleanest path to ZTNA without breaking legacy apps? And maybe you know about common pitfall.
Yeah, and we've seen it, right, when we first started doing this. And actually, you can deploy ZTNA in a couple of different ways, but we actually do support a method that we have an endpoint agent that goes on the endpoint, Chromebooks, Windows devices, Macs, iOS, Androids, and that will actually create a full tunnel into your private network, and it will support any protocol. It works in a similar way to a VPN, but you've got all of the zero trust techniques on top of that around posture checking, modern authentication with IDPs. And then once they're on there, we'll actually support any protocol. So even old things like SMB, NTLM, Kerberos will work over that connectivity method. So once you deploy our agent, which you can use any mass deployment tool like Intune or group policy, once it's out there, you create your policy about what applications they can access, and we'll support any protocol.
Thank you. How about third parties and contractors? How do customers handle those with your solution? Do they typically onboard them into the same policies or some kind of isolation, separate access path?
Yeah, normally different, a different policy that's probably a lot more defined. So, if a contractor needs access to a certain server via RDP, or they need access to a certain web application, perhaps ordering system,
yeah,
they would normally use RBI. That contractor doesn't need to install anything. It's just a URL.
RBI is browser isolation, yeah?
Browser isolation, yeah. Sorry, yeah. RBI is the acronym. Remote browser isolation, yeah. It gives you full control. Everything's audited, and they only access the system they're allowed to. And you have full control about uploads, downloads, copy, paste. You control their session.
Understood. And the last question, I think we have maybe managed service providers here. So kind of understood that your solution is more of an enterprise grade solution. But is it? Do you have a kind of a workflow for MSPs?
We do. It's fairly new. We just brought it out in Q4 last year. Oh. So it's the same technology. It's the same platform. You can give your SMB mid-market customers the same experience that a tier one bank's using, but we support commercials that MSPs need. Things like monthly billing, things like single invoicing and pooled licensing. It's available now.
Oh, great. So we will follow up on this. Okay, thank you, Simon. And Victoria is here also from your side. So thank you very much. Perfect timing. And see you next time.
See you next time. Look forward to it. Thank you, everyone.